YouTube? Will from Will Development. Just rolling right into another comp discussion. That today we are going to be talking about Miami's Baddest. I believe this was 5. It's either 5 or 6. I think it's 5. This was one hell of an experience for me. I've always competed in the 200-pound class when I started doing weighted classes. And I've always walked around 205. And what happened after Orlando's, I went into Orlando's feeling really good. And then about a week after, I was still feeling really good. And then something happened. I started losing a bunch of weight. I started getting super weak. I started feeling like shit. Back starts hurting again. Everything's going downhill. And I think what happened was I was pushing it to a certain extent to the limit. And right after the comp, I should have just kind of not done that. I probably should have slowed down before the actual comp, but I was going balls to the wall basically right up until that comp. And it just burned me out doing that comp. And the reality was I probably needed like 2 weeks off after. Or at least 2 weeks of like sort of easy work to recover from it. And I did not give my body that chance. So I'm going into Miami's and I'm like 3 weeks out. And I'm feeling like shit. I'm nervous. And then I'm a week out, 2 weeks out from Miami's. And I'm training over one of my training partners' houses. And we're doing the 175 weights, and I can't do that. I can't do the yoke. I can't do the farmers. And when I can't do farmers, I get nervous because I've always been good at farmers. I've always been able to handle just about any weight you put down. If I can pick it up, I can move with it. Couldn't even pick them up. You know, 2 weeks, that was 2 weeks out, and then a week out. Even the 175 weights are still killing me, and I'm like, this is, the 200 weights are even heavier. I'm fucked. That's what I'm thinking. And the guy I'm training with, he's doing 175s. He says, dude, just drop down. He's like, you're already walking around at like 185 anyway. Just drop down to 175. Just cut the weight. It won't be that bad. I don't know. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm already losing weight. I already feel like shit. I said, do I want to go into the 200s and fail everything, or do I go to the 175s and just fail one thing? And at least be able to do one thing, I mean. Fail most of them, but at least I can do that. I said, all right, fuck it. So I contacted the promoter, Mike, and I tell him, he says, honestly, that's great. He said, we need some more guys in that class. Get to it. I said, cool. So did the cut, went down to 175. I was actually I was either one of one or one of two guys that made weight their first try, just getting in there, jumping on the scale, and I was so happy to do that. It was awesome. 175.4 right on the nose, right at the cutoff, and I still had underwear to take off, so I felt really good about that. Spent that whole day just eating, doing some errands too. Eating, just chilling out. I ended up eating upwards of 7,600 calories that day, between good meals of just normal stuff I eat, beef, chicken, rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, a little bit of veggies. Started washing it down with orange juice too, just getting more carbs in there. Said I gotta fill my body because I knew the comp was gonna be a fast comp, so I knew I wouldn't have a lot of time to eat on Saturday. I said, well, if I'm not gonna be able to eat, I need to eat today so I feel full for tomorrow. And I did that and it worked out great. I woke up Saturday morning, I felt really good. In terms of full muscles, and my body actually felt pretty good too. It felt like taking that last week off to recover sort of primed me to be in a good place for it. Then the actual comp started, and like I assumed, it ran super efficiently. Ended up pulling a 435 deadlift. Unfortunately, they were doing 30-pound jumps, so the next jump up was 465, which was that's like 90% of my max when I was 200 pounds anyway. So I said, there's a chance in hell I could get it. Went for it, but it didn't budge. Unfortunately, it just didn't budge. So, 435 was still a good opener. And I'm still happy with hitting that number. Even that felt heavy. I probably could have hit like 455 that day based on the 435 feelings, but 465, that just wasn't going to happen that day. And that's okay. The guy who won pulled like 585, so I had no chance, you know, to win that event, and I sort of knew that going in. Press medley, it was closer to something I would have had a chance to do. I believe the weight was 205 for the axle and the log, and I did manage to clean the axle. I couldn't press it and didn't even bother with the log. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that going either. I'm not going to risk hurting myself somehow with that. I'm going to back up a little bit though, because I realized two of the guys are literally two of the best in the world. One of them I think is number 4 in the world in 175, and one of the other guys is like number 7 in the world at 175. The other guy that was in my class is a nationals competitor, and I think he got like somewhere just below middle of the pack when he competed in nationals last time. And then the other guy who was there has competed at different worlds than the World's Strongest Man Worlds for the 175s, but he's competed on a world stage against other guys before. And then I was there, a guy who can't even podium at a local comp. So I walked into this saying, when I lose, I will not be ashamed. These guys are thinking, how fast can I finish this event, or how many reps can I get on this? I'm thinking, can I do this? So going in, you know, and oh, that's not the right attitude. No, that's the fucking real attitude. That's reality. I knew walking in this was a heavier comp that I was going to have a lot of trouble with a lot of the things. So that was the press, and that was just me kind of talking, kind of going into sort of my mentality with it too. Then it was the yoke farmers, which was actually the only event I was able to, other than the deadlift, was able to finish, and it sucks. I picked my yoke height wrong. I picked it 1 notch too high, so when I took off, I had to kind of like, I had to stay as upright as possible, which you probably should do anyway, but it doesn't leave any room for error. And I dragged once, picked it back up and finished. Went to the farmers and did them in 1 run, which felt so good because I couldn't even pick them up a week before that, or 2 weeks before that. So it felt so good to be able to pick them up and finish them in 1 movement. And you'll see in the video that's released next week, that's the only event where when I finished it, I was just like, yes, it just felt so good to be able to finish an event. Other than the deadlift, which I knew I would be able to get at least a point on the board because it opened at 405, and I was like, yeah, I can pull that, no problem. So that felt really good. Then they did the burden run, which was a run with the keg and then a throw, and I actually felt really good because only 1 guy was actually able to complete that event. So I was like, cool. As far as I'm concerned, I'm right in line with all these guys. The reality is, if they didn't have to carry that keg, they could have thrown that bag over the bar at any moment. You could have given me a week and I would never get that bag over that bar. So, you know, that's the reality, but, you know, for my own kind of ego, I'm like, hey, I did just as good as those guys. And then the stone. The stone was the only event where I'm mad at myself because I feel like I could have done that. Especially rewatching the footage, and damn, I was that close and just couldn't finish it out. Using tacky, I tell everybody this, always put some on the back of your hands too, so that way you've got some extra when you need it. Don't know why I didn't do that. I think because in my head I was like, there's no way I'm doing this, so I'll just go out there and give it a shot. Son of a bitch, I got pretty close. If I had more tacky, I probably could do this. But here we are. I'm talking a little fast because I'm running out of room on the camera here. So yeah, that's the one event that really bothered me. But other than that, I have no shame in coming in last place to all those guys, especially with those weights. I felt better doing that than dropping out, because if I was going to stay in the 200s, I was just going to drop out, because there's no way I could have done anything. The yoke would have killed me, the farmers would have killed me, everything would have killed me. The keg was heavier, everything was heavier. So there's no way I could have done it. So I dropped the class, competed with some of the best in the world, and held my own on at least one event, I'd say. And so I have no shame in that comp. But I'm definitely looking forward to next year, where I could actually maybe shake up the roster at least a little bit. But I think I'm going to hang around 175 for a while. I've still walked around and run 185 ever since. And I feel fine at this weight now. I'm starting to get stronger at this weight, and I think I'll move back to 200s when it's time. Not just because I'm comfortable there. And then we'll just go from there. So yeah, when you compete against the best, you can hang your head high, even when you lose. If you don't, then what's your excuse?